Hello, you filthy animals, and welcome to the very first episode of the Arrowverse Rewrite series. This is a series of videos where I will make an attempt to completely rewrite the Arrowverse to improve the character development, make things more comic book accurate when possible, and when necessary, completely rewrite certain seasons. This video will cover Season 1 of Arrow. Before beginning, let me list off a few important disclaimers that apply not just to this video, but to the rest of the rewrite. If you want to skip straight to the rewrite, just jump to the time code shown on the screen. 1. This rewrite will be broken into two parts, pre-crisis and post-crisis. 2. It will mainly focus on Supergirl, The Flash and Arrow, Batwoman, and Legends of Tomorrow will feature, but I am yet to watch Constantine or Black Lightning. Also, I am considering doing a Titans rewrite, and even though the only crossover between the two rewrites would be in Crisis on Infinite Earths, it's worth mentioning. 3. Some of these seasons are perfect as they are in the original, but will still get rewritten a little to fit the greater rewrite. And some will be completely rewritten and have almost nothing to do with the original seasons. 4. One of my goals in this rewrite is to make every single crossover matter to all shows they include. E.g., in the original, the crossover episodes were straight-up filler episodes in Supergirl. 5. I may kill off fan-favorite characters, and trust me, it's for the greater good of the rewrite when it happens. Other characters may go on a different tangent. Spoilers, e.g. Thea Queen and Caitlin Snow. 6. I am giving myself a lot of liberties. For example, the real Arrowverse couldn't do a Suicide Squad storyline. But I am doing it anyway, and I will keep Roy Harper's and Wally West's characters a lot longer than they were in the original, even though I know the actors didn't want to stay. I acknowledge it's not a fair rewrite when I do this, but whatever, it's just a fan rewrite, it's not canon or anything. 7. I'm going to be calling Kara Linda Lee Danvers for reasons I will give when I get to that rewrite. So if you wonder who Linda Lee is, it's Supergirl's Earth name, just like Clark Kent is Kal-El's Earth name. 8. I'm going to be setting up Crisis on Infinite Earths the whole time, the same way the MCU Infinity Saga was always setting up Infinity War. The setup I will do won't be that crazy, and everything I do as setup will be something they could have easily done it. They knew they were leading up to Crisis on Infinite Earths. 9. Some villains won't be the main villains of the season they were in the real Arrowverse, e.g. spoilers. Savitar will be the villain of Season 4, not Season 3. And Roz will be the villain of Season 5, not Season 3. And some main villains won't even exist like Non. There is a reason for these kinds of changes, so just deal with it. 10. I will recast some characters. I won't take an actor who never appeared in the Arrowverse and cast them, but instead I will reshuffle the characters played by different actors depending on the series. E.g., the actor for Winn in Supergirl will play Jimmy Olsen, and the actor for Jimmy Olsen will play John Henry Irons, etc. 11. This is a very long rewrite, as I intend to go season by season, and certain videos will be very long because the entire season needs a full rewrite. But if you love DC, you won't even feel the time go by. 12. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, I fully acknowledge I have the advantage of hindsight, knowing some mistakes, like giving Cecile powers, ended up being the bane of their respective series, and I can set things up because I know where characters ended up. Without wasting any more time, let's get into it. This season is perfect based on what the real Arrowverse is. However, for my version of the Arrowverse to make sense, some things need to change. First things first, when Shadow's father, Yao Fei, dies in the flashbacks, he will specifically make Slade and Oliver promise to protect his daughter. This change has nothing to do with the Season 1 flashback storyline, since the original was already perfect. But it will help me fix the only flaw with Slade Wilson, which is that his motivation to become a villain was a little weak. I'm not saying it was bad in any way, but there's always room for improvement. Moving over to the present day, I'm going to reverse Diggle and Felicity's introduction to the life of vigilantism. In the original, Oliver asked Diggle to join him, and he kinda had no choice with Felicity because his mom shot him and he couldn't go to a hospital dressed as the Hood. In the rewrite, however, Oliver was 100% serious about doing his mission alone from the beginning. He will get shot by Deadshot in Episode 5, which will have the plot of the original Episode 3 lone gunman, and have no choice but to hide in Diggle's car. In the rewrite, Diggle wasn't just a random soldier, but he was a combat medic, And throughout the show, whenever Oliver gets hurt, Diggle will patch him up similar to Caitlin for the Flash. Of course, there will be instances when Oliver's injuries are beyond Diggle's abilities, like in the episode 3 Ghosts in Season 2, when Barry Allen saves Oliver. Anyway, this means that Diggle will also have Felicity's reaction, and he will be okay with Oliver being a vigilante. But later on, like the real Diggle, he will want Oliver to branch out beyond the list. In the rewrite, even though including Diggle to his mission was never on purpose, it ends up being the best thing Oliver ever did because Diggle uses his army experience to help Oliver refine his methods. He tells Oliver that he needs a guy, or should I say girl, in the chair to tell him where to go, and he needs someone on the field who has his back. He adds all the medical stuff to his lair, since before Oliver was just using herbs from Lee and Yu. He also gives Oliver moral advice on the need to stop killing, and like I said earlier, the need to address other kinds of crime, not just his father's list. Also, and this is important, one reason why Diggle will join is because he wants revenge against Deadshot for killing his brother. Oliver will promise to help him avenge his brother, but it won't happen this season because Deadshot will get away in episode 5 and not be seen again till season 2. As for Felicity, after Diggle's advice, Oliver will recruit her into the mission the same way he did Diggle by bringing her to the lair. This will happen in episode 8, Vendetta, after Malcolm Merlyn's goons try to assassinate her because she is investigating too deep into Moira Queen, and the Hood just happens to be in the area, and he saves her. Just like Diggle did, she will originally refuse and even quit her job at Queen Consolidated, saying she doesn't want anything to do with the Hood, however. After Walter's kidnapping, Felicity will realize Oliver is the only one who can put a stop to all this crime, and she will visit him at the hospital at the end of episode 9, Year's End, and officially join the team, meaning when the second half of the season rolls around, the whole team, Arrow, has been formed. In episode 6, in between Diggle and Felicity's recruitment, there will be a scene where Oliver needs some information extracted from a computer, but he is busy having been arrested on suspicion of being the vigilante. In this, he will specifically instruct Diggle to go to Felicity and no one else, and this coupled with the fact he started going to her desk all the way in episode 2 will imply, but never explicitly state that he has already picked her out specifically. At this time, the audience didn't know Oliver didn't spend the entirety of the 5 years he was away on the island, so we will assume he just did some off-screen research on her and knew she was trustworthy. By the way, in the episode where Oliver gets himself arrested on purpose so he can drive suspicion from himself in any future investigations, we will see he actually paid a member of the Bratva to act like the Hood and then bounce because, remember, in this Oliver had no intentions of ever including someone else in his crusade, so it can't be Diggle like in the original. Finally, and this is important, I don't know if the romantic foreshadowing between Oliver and Felicity started in season 1, but regardless of its origin, in the rewrite it is simply being erased from the whole show. Let them remain one of those what if couples fans wonder about but never get to see. Green Arrow should always be destined to fall in love with Black Canary. Now let's get into the second half, since you can assume anything I haven't mentioned stays exactly the same as it was in the original. Thea Queen's addiction to Vertigo arc will last a lot longer. In fact, something I am changing for the entire rewrite is Thea Queen as a character is a little mentally unwell. This isn't some random change, it will actually help explain some decisions she will make, but trust me, you will probably like them. Anyway, her mom and Oliver will try to help her. Mostly her mom, because Oliver will be busy hunting down the Count to stop the supply of Vertigo in Starling City. All these attempts will fail, but later when she begins to date Roy Harper, he will be the one who actually helps her get through her addiction. We will learn that he lives alone because his mom, Leon, died of a drug overdose because she was an addict and a single mom. After Roy is saved by the Hood and decides to turn his life around, Thea will move in with him, and together they will attempt to find the Hood, and he will introduce her to his friends and life in the Glades. In the finale, when the undertaking happens, we'll specifically see his home completely destroyed, and in between seasons 1 and 2, Thea will invite Roy to live with her in the Queen Manor, which Moira will be okay with, because she will by now have realized what a positive influence Roy and Thea are on each other. As for Count Vertigo, and this is super important, we will learn he isn't the one who invented the drug Vertigo, but rather he is just a middleman. It's actually a nationwide drug problem, but the Kingpin doesn't even live in Starling City. This will be an ongoing theme during the whole series, where the Vertigo drug keeps resurfacing with a new count every few seasons. Until spoilers in Season 6, the one true Count Vertigo will become the main villain of the season. Going back to Diggle, his sister-in-law, Carly, will be fused with McKenna Hall, the cop lady who Oliver was dating before she moved away, and will be in a relationship with Oliver. Oliver is still seemingly a playboy, so it can work. However, like in the original, we will see that Diggle had considered pursuing her, but in the rewrite, he was too slow, and Oliver beat him to the punch, so when Lila comes back into his life, he doesn't hesitate again. Malcolm Merlyn will discover Oliver's secret a little earlier than in the original, let's say in episode 21, The Undertaking. And during those last episodes, we will see him actually attempt to make Oliver join him, claiming they are the same and both want to save the city. But Oliver will obviously reject him. Tragically, Carly will be killed by Malcolm Merlyn in retaliation, and this will act as a deterrent to Oliver in the future, because this, coupled with the Huntress going evil, will convince him he will never find love. By the way, Carly's son AJ doesn't exist, so when she dies, no orphan is left behind. I made these changes because I think this is a much better way to send off the character, because this will affect Oliver's character, than for both Carly Diggle and McKenna Hall to just vanish between Season 1 and 2. I bet most of you couldn't even remember who these characters were before I mentioned them. As for Merlyn, he is literally the Green Arrow's arch enemy, so I think we should get a few more episodes of tension between the two. Finally, let's talk about the Lances. Laurel will go by Dinah from the very beginning, the same way she is called in the comics. I have no idea why they decided to call her Laurel in the show, but whatever. She will be a day one supporter of the Hood, truly believing like him that this city can be saved. I imagine we can see scenes of her and her father having debates on whether vigilantism has a place in Starling City, but she will always be on the Hood's side. Also, we will see, just like in the pilot, that she can fight, and that she is a big fan of martial arts, but she is not nearly good enough to become a vigilante, just that she does some training in her spare time as a hobby and to keep in shape. Sarah Lance will be changed to an adopted sister called Cassandra Wu San, or Cassandra Lance. This idea I got from a guy called Dagonspear on Reddit, but her arc will be similar to the real Sarah in Season 1 at least. Quentin Lance will remain the same, trying to catch the Hood and having beef with Oliver for getting his daughter killed. That's everything I had to change about Season 1, since, like I said earlier, the original Season 1 is practically perfect and one of the best seasons in the entire Arrowverse. If you enjoyed the video and are curious to see where the rewrite is going, please like and subscribe so you'll know when Part 2 comes out. This is going to be a long series of videos because I will go season by season for the main 3 shows, Arrow, Supergirl, and The Flash, and some shows like Batwoman and DC's Legends of Tomorrow, I will completely restructure into something comic book accurate. Until then, hail and farewell.